I had been married to Amanda for 8 years. We built what I thought was a perfect life together with our two beautiful children. My wife was my best friend, my soulmate, and I believed we would grow old together. Then she started going to the gym after our second child. At first I was supportive and happy for her newfound confidence. Until one day she looked at me with cold eyes and said those words that shattered my world: "I think I can do better than this life." Let me know in the comments where you're watching from. And if you enjoy real-life stories, hit that like and subscribe button to join our community of truth seekers. For 8 years, I thought Amanda and I had the perfect marriage. Looking back now, I can see the cracks that were forming, but at the time, everything seemed solid as rock. I'm Luther, a 35-year-old software engineer living in the suburbs of Chicago. I work hard for my family, putting in long hours to make sure we could afford our comfortable lifestyle, complete with the 4-bedroom house and 2 cars in the driveway. Amanda and I met during our junior year at Northwestern University. I was the somewhat nerdy computer science major who spent most weekends coding rather than partying. She was studying marketing, vibrant and social, with this infectious laugh that would light up a room. Our worlds collided in the university library, of all places. She was struggling with a presentation that required some technical elements, and I offered to help. What started as a study session turned into coffee, which turned into dinner, which turned into the most amazing 10 years of my life. After graduation, we dated for 2 more years before I proposed. It wasn't anything fancy. We were hiking in Wisconsin, reached a beautiful overlook, and I just knew it was time. The wedding came a year later, a modest but beautiful ceremony with about 80 guests. Amanda looked absolutely stunning in her white dress, and when she walked down the aisle, I remember thinking I was the luckiest man alive. We bought our first house shortly after a fixer-upper that needed a lot of work, but we were young and energetic. Weekends were spent painting walls, replacing cabinets, and turning that house into our home. Amanda had such an eye for design. She could walk into an empty room and instantly envision what it could become. Those were some of my favorite memories, just the two of us covered in paint, laughing, planning our future. 3 years into our marriage, Noah was born. That little boy changed everything. Suddenly, our lives revolved around diaper changes, midnight feedings, and the kind of exhaustion I never knew existed. Amanda was amazing with him. She decided to leave her marketing job to stay home full-time, saying she couldn't bear the thought of missing any milestones. I supported her decision completely and took on extra projects at work to make up for the lost income. Our evenings developed a comfortable routine. I would come home from work, Amanda would hand me Noah, and she would get a break while I spent quality time with my son. After Noah went to sleep, Amanda and I would curl up on the couch, watch a show, and talk about our days. Weekends were family time trips, to the park visits with grandparents, simple but fulfilling. Emma came along 3 years after Noah. Our family felt complete with our son and daughter. Amanda handled the transition to 2 kids with grace, though I could tell it was more challenging for her this time. The pregnancy was harder on her body, and recovery took longer. While she never complained outright, I noticed her spending more time looking in the mirror, pinching areas of her body she never seemed concerned with before. Around this time, I received a promotion at work. It came with a significant pay raise, but also more responsibilities and longer hours. I tried my best to maintain our family time, but there were definitely weeks when I wasn't as present as I should have been. Looking back, I realized this was when things began to shift. So gradually, I didn't notice until it was almost too late. It started with casual comments from Amanda. "I just want to feel like myself again," she would say while looking at old photos from college. I barely recognized the woman in the mirror anymore. I tried to reassure her that she was still beautiful to me, that the changes in her body were signs of the amazing life we had created together. But my words didn't seem to reach her. There was a restlessness growing in her that I couldn't quite understand at the time. Everything changed the day Amanda announced she was joining Elite Fitness, an upscale gym across town. It was considerably more expensive than our local gym, but she insisted it offered specialized classes and personal training that would help her reach her goals faster. I supported her enthusiasm, happy to see a spark in her eyes that had been missing. She signed up for sessions with a personal trainer named Jake, a former college athlete who specialized in post-pregnancy fitness. The first few weeks seemed to validate our decision. Amanda came home from her workouts energized and positive. She meal prepped with newfound dedication and even set up a small workout area in our basement for days she couldn't make it to the gym. I rearranged my schedule to be home earlier on certain days so she could attend evening classes. It meant working late into the night after the kids were in bed, but seeing Amanda happy made it worthwhile. Within 3 months, the physical changes became noticeable. Amanda's body was transforming, shedding the weight she had gained during her pregnancies. Her confidence grew alongside her fitness level. Initially, this seemed like a wholly positive development. We were intimate more frequently, and she seemed happier overall. I even started joining her for weekend workouts when my parents could watch the kids. Then the gym visits increased from 3 days a week to 5, sometimes 6. Amanda began attending social events organized by elite fitness team-building activities that always seemed to run late into the evening. A new circle of friends emerged, people I only knew from Amanda's stories. There was Tiffany, a recently divorced personal trainer, Mark and Ryan, 2 single guys who owned a sports supplement company, and several other women who, like Amanda, were in incredible shape and seemed focused on living their best lives. Amanda's wardrobe underwent a complete transformation. Gone were the comfortable mom clothes, replaced by expensive athleisure wear designer jeans and tops that showcased her newly toned physique. Her makeup routine expanded, becoming more elaborate even for gym sessions. When I asked about the increased spending, she became defensive. I've spent years putting everyone else first. Don't I deserve to invest in myself for once? Our relationship began showing serious strains 6 months into Amanda's fitness journey. She became critical of my appearance, suggesting I should join her at Elite Fitness, rather than doing my basic home workouts. Comments about my dad bod became more frequent, though they were often disguised as concern for my health. Remarks about my career choices followed. Don't you want more than just being a senior developer forever? Jake's client Thomas started his own tech company and just bought a vacation home in Aspen. Family dinners, once sacred time in our household, became sporadic. Amanda would text last minute that she was attending a nutrition workshop or a social event with her gym friends. Noah started asking why mommy wasn't home to tuck him in anymore. Those questions broke my heart, and I found myself making excuses for her absence. I tried talking to Amanda about my concerns one night after the kids were asleep. I'm worried about how much time you're spending away from the family, I said carefully. The kids miss you, and honestly, so do I. Her response was immediate and defensive. You're just jealous because I'm making new friends and improving myself while you're content to stay exactly the same. Not everyone wants to be stagnant, Luther. The conversation devolved from there, with Amanda accusing me of trying to hold her back. When I brought up the children, she claimed I was using them to manipulate her. Nothing in our marriage had prepared me for this version of my wife, someone who could coldly dismiss the needs of our children as manipulation tactics. Things escalated when I accidentally saw messages on Amanda's phone while she was in the shower. She had left it on the kitchen counter, and a notification from Jake popped up. I know I shouldn't have looked, but concern overrode my respect for her privacy. The message read, "Great seeing you today. Drinks with the crew tomorrow at 8. Thomas is asking if you're coming." It was the familiarity in the tone that bothered me, along with the fact that Amanda had told me she had a women's-only fitness workshop scheduled for the next evening. When I confronted her about the discrepancy, she exploded. "Are you spying on me now, checking my phone like I'm some teenager? This is exactly why I need space from this suffocating household." The arguments increased in frequency and intensity. Amanda began staying out later, offering vague explanations about where she had been. I noticed she would sometimes shower immediately upon returning home, even if she claimed to have just been at a gym event. The emotional distance between us expanded into a chasm. Even when we were in the same room, she was constantly on her phone, smiling at messages from people I didn't know. The final breaking point came when Noah's teacher called to ask why Amanda had missed his parent-teacher conference. Amanda had assured me she would attend while I took Emma to her pediatrician appointment. When I called the gym to see if she was there, they informed me she hadn't checked in that day. When she finally came home that evening, the confrontation was unavoidable. "Where were you today? You missed Noah's conference." For a moment, genuine shock registered on her face, quickly replaced by defiance. I lost track of time. It's not the end of the world. Lost track of time where you weren't at the gym. Her eyes narrowed. Are you tracking my movements now? This is exactly what I'm talking about, Luther. I feel trapped in this marriage, in this life. She gestured around our living room at the toys scattered across the floor and the family photos on the walls. I'm 33 years old. Is this all there is for me? Being just a wife and mother until I'm old and gray? I thought being a wife and mother made you happy, I said, my voice breaking. Her response cut deeper than any knife could have. Maybe it did once. But now I know I deserve more. I deserve to be happy. I'll never forget that Tuesday evening when I came home from work to find Amanda packing a suitcase in our bedroom. The kids were at my parents' house for their weekly dinner visit, so we were alone in the silent house that had once been filled with laughter and love. "What are you doing?" I asked, though the answer was painfully obvious. Amanda didn't even look up as she folded designer clothes and placed them carefully in the luggage. "I need some time away, Luther. I've rented an apartment downtown for a while." An apartment? When did you even have time to look for an apartment? My mind was spinning, trying to make sense of this revelation. Is this about us arguing we can get counseling work through this rough patch? She finally stopped packing and looked at me, her expression a mixture of pity and impatience. "This isn't a rough patch. I've been unhappy for a long time. I need to find myself again, start fresh, explore who I am outside of just being your wife and the kids' mother." "And you need an apartment to do that?" I asked, my voice rising despite my efforts to stay calm. "What about Noah and Emma? Are you just leaving them too?" "Don't be dramatic," she sighed. "Of course I'm not abandoning my children. We can work out a schedule. They can stay with you during the week since they have school, and I'll take weekends. It will be an adjustment, but kids are resilient." The casual way she discussed upending our children's world felt like a physical blow. "This isn't just about finding yourself, is it? There's someone else." Amanda didn't answer immediately, which was all the confirmation I needed. "It's not that simple," she finally said. "I've met people who have shown me there's a whole world out there that I've been missing. I need to explore that." 2 days later, I was served divorce papers at work. Amanda had filed on grounds of irreconcilable differences and was seeking primary physical custody of the children with generous visitation rights for me. The document felt heavy in my hands, the legal terminology transforming 10 years of love and commitment into cold clinical language about assets and parenting schedules. That night, after putting the kids to bed with a forced smile and promises that everything would be okay, I broke down completely. I called William my best friend since college, and the only person I could truly open up to. He came over immediately, bringing bourbon and a shoulder to lean on. "I just don't understand," I said, glass in hand, staring blankly at the wall. "How does someone change so completely? Last year we were planning our family vacation to Disney World, and now she's saying she needs to find herself. What does that even mean?" William, to his credit, didn't offer empty platitudes. "People change, Luther. Sometimes in ways we can't predict or understand. But leaving like this, especially with kids involved, that's cold." The next few weeks passed in a blur of pain and practical arrangements. Amanda moved into her downtown apartment, a sleek one-bedroom in a high-rise with views of the city. Meanwhile, I had to figure out how to be both mother and father to 2 confused children while maintaining my job and dealing with my own grief. My parents were stunned by the sudden collapse of our marriage. "But you two were always so happy," my mother kept saying, as if repeating it might make it true again. Amanda's parents were surprisingly supportive of her decision. Her mother even suggested that maybe Amanda had settled down too young and needed to explore her options. The first time I had to drop the kids off at Amanda's new apartment was excruciating. Noah at 7 was old enough to understand something serious was happening, but too young to process it. "But when are you and Mommy going to live together again?" he asked repeatedly. Emma at 4 was simply confused about why we needed 2 houses now. Amanda's apartment was minimalist and modern, nothing like the warm, slightly chaotic home we had built together. There were no family photos on display, no evidence of children, except for a small second bedroom set up with bunk beds for their weekend stays. It looked like the apartment of a single woman with no ties or history. The revelation about Jason came about a month after Amanda moved out. A mutual friend reluctantly showed me social media photos of Amanda with a tall, tanned man at an upscale rooftop bar downtown. He had his arm possessively around her waist, and she was looking up at him with adoration. The caption read, "New Beginnings." A quick online search revealed that Jason Weber was a 38-year-old entrepreneur who had sold his tech startup for millions 2 years prior. He now owned several CrossFit gyms across the city, including Elite Fitness, where Amanda had been training. He drove a Tesla-owned a lake house in Michigan, and according to my friend, had never been married or had children. I was devastated but also angered by the discovery. All the late nights at the gym, the sudden interest in fitness competitions, the critical comments about my career ambitions, they all made perfect sense now. Amanda hadn't just fallen out of love with me, she had fallen for the lifestyle Jason represented, a life of luxury and freedom without the responsibilities of a mortgage and parenthood. The worst part was seeing Noah and Emma's confusion and pain. Despite Amanda's promises about weekend custody, her time with the children became increasingly erratic. She would cancel at the last minute due to important events, leaving me to explain to tearful children why Mommy wouldn't be picking them up after all. When she did take them, she often brought them back early, claiming Emma had been fussy or Noah uncooperative. During this time, I was barely functioning. I went to work, cared for the children, and fell into bed exhausted every night. Friends tried to get me to get back out there, but dating was the furthest thing from my mind. How could I even consider another relationship when the person I had trusted most in the world had betrayed me so completely? 2 months after our separation, my phone lit up with a text message at 1130 at night. It was from Amanda. "Can we meet tomorrow? Just to talk?" Coffee at Blackstone at 10. I stared at the message for a long time before responding. Part of me wanted to ignore it entirely, but another part needed closure, or at least answers to the questions that had been haunting me. Okay, I texted back simply. The next morning I arrived at the cafe early, choosing a table in the corner where we could have some privacy. When Amanda walked in, I almost didn't recognize her. Gone was the confident, glowing woman from recent social media posts. She looked tired, her designer outfit replaced by simple jeans and a sweater, her usually perfect hair pulled back in a hasty ponytail. She sat down across from me, hands wrapped around her coffee cup as if seeking warmth. "Thank you for meeting me," she said softly. "What did you want to talk about?" I asked, keeping my voice neutral, despite the storm of emotions inside me. Amanda took a deep breath. "Jason and I are over," she said bluntly. "He broke things off last week, when he realized I was serious about my children being part of my life. I couldn't help the bitter laugh that escaped me. So he was fine dating a married woman, but having kids around was too much commitment." She looked down, a flush of shame crossing her features. "He made it clear from the beginning he wasn't interested in being a father figure. I guess I thought he would change his mind once he got to know Noah and Emma." She paused, blinking back tears. "And it turns out all those friends from the gym, they were his friends, not mine. Once we broke up, the invitations stopped coming. I'm sorry to hear that," I said, and was surprised to realize I partly meant it. Despite everything, seeing Amanda in pain still affected me. "Luther," she said, looking up at me with red-rimmed eyes, "I made a terrible mistake. I threw away everything that actually mattered for some fantasy that wasn't even real. I want to come home. I want us to try again, for the kids, for us." The coffee in my cup had grown cold as I stared at Amanda, processing her words. Part of me, the part that still loved her despite everything, wanted to reach across the table and tell her everything would be okay, that we could go back to the way things were. But the wiser part, the part that had grown stronger through this ordeal, knew it could never be that simple. "Amanda," I said finally, "what happened to us, what you did, it can't be undone with a simple apology. You didn't just hurt me. You hurt Noah and Emma. You disrupted their entire world because you decided we weren't good enough for you anymore." She flinched at my words but didn't argue. "I know," she whispered, "and I'll spend the rest of my life trying to make it up to all of you if you'll let me. I just want a chance to show you I've changed, that I understand what really matters now. I need time to think, I told her. This isn't just about forgiveness. It's about whether we can build something healthy again for us, and especially for the kids. In the weeks that followed, I did a lot of soul searching. I started seeing a therapist, something I should have done months earlier. Dr. Pearson helped me work through my anger and betrayal, encouraging me to focus on what would truly be best for my children and myself, regardless of what anyone else might think. I had an important conversation with Noah and Emma, sitting them down in our living room one evening. I didn't share adult details, but I was honest in an age-appropriate way. Mommy made a mistake leaving our family, I explained. She's very sorry and wants to come back home, but Daddy needs to make sure that if she does, she won't leave again, because that would make us all very sad. Noah, wise beyond his years, asked the question that had been on my mind: does Mommy still love us? The simplicity and earnestness of his question brought tears to my eyes. Yes, buddy, Mommy never stopped loving you and Emma. Sometimes adults make confusing choices, but that doesn't change how much we love you. Meanwhile, Amanda was making efforts to demonstrate her commitment to rebuilding our family. She started attending therapy sessions of her own. She rearranged her work schedule at the marketing firm where she had recently taken a position, ensuring she could be fully present for her weekends with the kids. She stopped posting on social media, entirely telling me she realized how much of her self-worth had become tied to external validation. The turning point came 3 months after our coffee shop meeting. Amanda asked if she could come over for dinner on a weeknight to talk. After the kids were in bed, she handed me a handwritten letter. "I want you to know exactly what I'm committing to if you give me another chance," she explained as I opened it. The letter outlined concrete steps she had taken and would continue to take: ongoing therapy, both individual and couples, counseling. If I agreed, a commitment to complete transparency with her phone and schedule, and most importantly, a promise to prioritize our family above all else. "I also went to see your parents," she admitted, surprising me completely. "I needed to apologize to them directly. Your mom didn't make it easy, and I don't blame her. But I think we made progress." This gesture, perhaps more than anything else, showed me that Amanda was truly doing the difficult work of making amends. Facing my mother, who had been devastated by Amanda's abandonment of our family, would have taken real courage. Slowly, cautiously, we began rebuilding. I agreed to family counseling sessions where we could work through issues with professional guidance. We established a trial period where Amanda would spend more time at the house with the children, but not move back in immediately. We had to relearn how to communicate honestly with each other, how to express needs and concerns without reverting to old patterns. 6 months after Amanda's first attempt at reconciliation, we made the decision to give our marriage another chance. She moved back into our family home, though we maintained separate bedrooms at first. This arrangement gave us space to continue healing, while presenting a united front for the children. The Amanda who returned was different from both the woman I had married and the stranger she had briefly become. She was more thoughtful, more present, more appreciative of the small moments that make up a life together. She found purpose in starting a support group for mothers struggling with postpartum body image issues, turning her own painful experience into something that could help others. A year after our reconciliation, our family took a simple vacation to a beach house on Lake Michigan. There were no luxury resorts or Instagram-worthy adventures, just sand castles with the kids, board games on rainy afternoons, and quiet conversations on the porch after Noah and Emma were asleep. Watching Amanda laugh as she helped Emma bury my feet in the sand, I realized we had built something stronger than what we had before, precisely because we now understood its fragility. The journey taught me lessons I never expected to learn. I discovered the importance of establishing healthy boundaries even in marriage. I learned that true communication goes far beyond daily check-ins about schedules and chores. I recognized how easy it is to take for granted the person you see every day, and how essential it is to continue seeing them clearly. Most importantly, I learned that real love isn't the euphoric feeling of falling for someone, but the daily choice to remain committed even when it's difficult. It's about putting the needs of your family above momentary desires, about recognizing that true fulfillment comes not from external validation, but from the depth of your connections with those who matter most. Sometimes I still wake up at night and watch Amanda sleeping beside me, marveling at the journey we've taken. Our marriage isn't perfect, but it's authentic in a way it never was before. We've seen the worst of each other and chosen to stay anyway. If there's one thing I could tell anyone listening to my story, it's that sometimes we have to almost lose something to truly appreciate its value. The grass isn't greener on the other side, it's greener where you water it. Have you ever had to rebuild trust in a relationship? How did you move forward after betrayal? Share your experiences in the comments below. And if this story resonated with you, please like this video and subscribe to the channel for more real-life stories of challenge and redemption. Thank you for listening, and remember, the most beautiful things in life are often those we've fought hardest to preserve.